Coming up on the booth review from the stadium. That was not pretty of what happened on that field behind us.
Nah, not at all, man. But you got to figure this thing out, man.
And figure it out before we go to Spain. Welcome into the latest edition of the Booth Review Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein with London Fletcher, Logan Paulsen. We are presented by Microsoft Copilot Plus PC, and we are not in the Big Bear AI Command Center studio because we are still at Northwest Stadium right after the Commanders lost to the Lions. We can't do it in the studio because we're flying to Spain this week. So this is more of an instant reaction than it is really a review. Obviously, we haven't reviewed the film yet. It's not going to be pretty, though.
Nah, it's not going to be pretty, especially when you look at the defensive side of the ball. Detroit, they were able to do whatever they wanted, whether it was running the football, passing the ball. They got explosive plays in the pass game and the run game. And I thought we'd have a game plan devised where we'd be able to take away something. We didn't stop the run, and that opened up so many different things in the passing game, whether it's play action pass or just deep shots down the field.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that's the thing is, like, there are things to be optimistic about offensively. I think one of the things that I was concerned about is, like, how do you win versus man coverage? How do you run the football? How do you maximize personnel versus man coverage? And I thought it was cool to see Cliff kind of understand the tests and then kind of put the guys in the best position to be successful. Now, was it amazing, the best offense of all time? No, but did it understand its restrictions and how to insulate them and how to insulate a quarterback? I thought yes. I think defensively, that's the area that there's not a lot of room for anything optimistic. And again, like, I'm a very positive person, but the thing is like, you came in, you say, can we stop the run? No. It leads to all of these kind of explosive plays down the field. We're still misfitting runs. Yeah. Like, those things that have kind of been lingering in the last couple of weeks are still at the forefront, and it's just incredibly frustrating. And to put a caveat on that, I think it's important to acknowledge all the injuries that they suffered in this game. Yes. People getting ejected. You know, it's not easy, but, like, I think you saw kind of a version of the offense's ability to handle.
Right. Yeah, the offense is. I was pleased with what the offense was able to do. The thing that I really enjoyed was, I talked about last week when we did booth review. I talked about getting 4 tight end sets and
we were close
running
to
the football. Well, they didn't get into 4 tight ends. We had 3 tight ends.
They walked out with 3 at the start of the game.
Yeah, we had 3 tight ends and Debo Samuel, who was another physical guy. We committed to the run, had some success running the football, and then we were able to, do some things, beat man-to-man coverage and things like that. And guys made plays too, but defensively, you know who Detroit is. You know what they want to do. You got Jahmyr Gibbs. You got Montgomery. Their offense starts with being able to stop those guys in a run game. So how do you stop that? You got to get penetration. And yes, we're hamstrung from a personnel standpoint. So now you try to figure out, do we do some line stunts? Do we do some run blitzes? Do we do some different things to try to get penetration and cause disruptions, force them to miss some blocks, things like that. And although we haven't had an opportunity to review the film, I just didn't see a whole lot of that in this ball game. Yeah,
and I think the other thing too is, like, part of me, I want to be frustrated, but I'm also like, Daron Payne's usually a big part of those line stunts and movements. And when he's not in there, like, the past couple weeks, like, Kinlaw's been playing in, Jerzon Newton's playing in. Now all of a sudden you take them out of those roles, you move them back to the interior because Daron's not there, and that might have had a ripple effect throughout, not just the defensive line, but the entire defensive game plan. And that's all speculation, but I do think it's important to acknowledge how.
We'll tell you, it did happen on the 3rd touchdown drive. So,
so like, how many points did they score, Bram? They scored 40 points, right? So this is a long football game, and we're looking for things to be optimistic about, right? And so what I would say here too is that, like, maybe they're able to find something when there's the leader of your defense is still on the field, quite frankly. And I'm not saying he's the cog that makes the stirs the drink.
No, he's been the most consistent player from a defensive standpoint. And we can, I think there was a frustration that kind of bubbled up with Daron, whether it was Amon-Ra St. Brown threw a punch at him before or not, but Daron, he's been in the league long enough to know you can't do that. I think it's a combination, just frustration getting the best of it. He's a prideful guy. He's not happy with the way the defense has played over the last 5 weeks. But still, you got to figure out ways to stop an offense.
So I'm going to read the numbers. They're really striking. The team gave up 546 total yards. That was a season worst. They've given up over 400 in each of the last 4 games. And frankly, Detroit just was running out the clock for the last 7-8 minutes of the game. Jared Goff, 25 of 33, 323 touchdowns, was not sacked. Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 for 142, 2 touchdowns, 9.5 a carry. David Montgomery, 15 for 71, which sounds okay, but that's almost 5 yards a carry. Jamison Williams, 6 for 119, a touchdown, 19 yards a catch. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 11 yards a catch, 5 for 58, a touchdown. Sam Laporta, 5 for 53. I think to your point, who did they take away? And this has been a recurring theme if you go look at the Dallas game or the Chiefs game or this game or the Seattle game for that matter. Who did they actually take away during it?
Based on the numbers that you just ran off, nobody. Again, I know I've been on some teams where we've had personnel issues where you kind of hamstrung, you kind of handcuffed, so to speak. It's like, okay, we don't like our corner situation, so we got to protect them a little bit with the calls, or we don't necessarily like our defensive front or how our ability to stop the run, so we got to, maybe scheme up some negative yardage plays. And that's the challenge that you're faced with as a defensive staff, trying to you turn over every stone to figure out how can we get these fires put out. We got to put out some type of fire, because if you got all kind of fires going on all over the place, you plug a hole here, you got 2 more holes over there. We never plugged any holes, never put out any fire, so you're just getting engulfed by flames, engulfed by water, whatever the case may be. The dam is broken, and they're just doing whatever they want to you.
Yeah, it felt overwhelming, like watching it. Like there was a kind of Dan Campbell, like I like watching offenses, and he just was in a perfect rhythm. Like we're going to run, we're in 4th and 6, we're going to run a boot or a play action. Here's a first down off of 17-yard chunk, and you just weren't able to upset. It wasn't even taking anything away. You weren't able to upset any kind of rhythm offensively. And when you look at even defenses that have struggled that we've covered here in the past, they're able to get you to 3rd and 8, and they're able to get you into a punt, right? Yeah. Or able to hold you to a field goal. And like you said, like they scored 3 touchdowns like right out of the gate, and there are some things, again, that the offense can do to support them, but in this environment, like we need to play complementary football. You need to be able to find a way.
Yeah, you're going to have to match them score for score.
Yeah, and to get off the field at some point. And I look at, last year what made us so effective is that we were able to kind of offensively possess the football, insulate the defense, but the offense is banged up, right? We got a backup quarterback. We got guys that were not with teams a couple weeks ago. And so you'd like to think that the defense could bring more to the party. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that's just so it's just sad. It's just disappointing.
Again, you'll continue to look and say, we still got 7 ball games left in the season, so we got to figure out, man. You got to figure out something. We're getting ready to play a Dolphins team that beat the Buffalo Bills, who many thought was, one of the teams that's going to potentially represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. But as you look at our team offensively, the one thing that they'll probably say they wish they had done better is the 3rd down offense. Just 2 for 10, and they end up converting 2 out of 2 on 4th downs. But maybe if we were able to convert some of those 3rd downs, now you're able to possess the ball longer. Yeah, you're able to get more scores, and there's the margin of error is so small. And I thought the offense did a really good job. I thought Mariota played a really good ball game. They got 2 sacks against them, and those were when they brought pressure. But it still is a situation from a defensive standpoint. You can't allow them to continue to just march up and down the field against you without ever getting out of rhythm, never getting them behind the stick, so to speak, putting them in some 3rd and long situations, or a 4th and 5 where maybe Dan Campbell's not opting to go for it. If it's 4th and 1, he's going to go for it, but 4th and 5, he's like, man, but we'll settle for a field goal here instead of going for it.
Yeah, Bram, and I think about the first offensive drive, the first offensive possession, and it's 3 and out, and just how I was like, oh, well, I had the thought that the game's over. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's kind of where we're at in terms of what the defense is capable of doing. And like Fletch said, like, these are professionals. These are good coaches. They're smart guys. They just got to kind of keep turning over rocks until something sticks and they find something that this defense can do well. And you mentioned taking something away, right? Let's start with just making sure we take the run away, right? We talked about fit and runs, and there were still some issues there. So, yeah, man, it's just when looking at the defense, it feels like a mountain that needs to be climbed. Like there isn't like a simple, if they do this and they switch this and they play this coverage or they bring this pressure, it's like there doesn't seem to be a clear solution.
Yeah, and then you look at the fact we lost Amos in this ball game, lost Jonathan Jones in this ball game. Yeah, already was down Marshawn Lattimore. So it's so many things we continue to just get ravaged by injuries. And we already touched on Deron Payne being ejected from this ball game. So it puts a lot of pressure on you from a defensive standpoint and as a play caller.
Like, just looking forward, let me ask you this, because they need some solutions to be better than it's been. It doesn't have to be a top 5 defense. It's got to be. It can't be this, right? It can't be this moving forward.
Yeah.
You're trying to generate a pass rush. Where do you look? What would you look at and say, this is how we can potentially generate a pass rush?
The first thing I would look at personally is down and distance.
Yeah.
Like, can you get into a 3rd and 7+ situation where I do think when you look at times that this year, when you go back and just watch a cut-up of 3rd and 7+, Joe Wood Jr. has done a good job of creating pressure in those situations because they're obvious passing situations, right? We can blitz, we can do some things. When you're in a 3rd and 3 or a 3rd and 2, a 3rd and 1, all of that exotic pressure that you spent all offseason developing, because that's where 3rd downs are won in those exotic pressure packages, you can't utilize them, right? And so I go back to the rhythm of the Detroit offense the other night or tonight and say to myself, like, I know they have clubs in the bag for those moments.
Yeah.
I know they do. I've seen it. We just don't get to see them because the game of the flow of the offense is so uninterrupted.
It starts with being able to win 1st and 2nd downs. And if you're allowing the running back to get 7 yards on the 1st down carry, it's going to be hard. You're already, even if you don't gain a yard on 2nd down, you're at 3rd and 3. And it's hard to rush the passer.
Yeah, like what were the yards for the backs? I mean, like that you just read off, like they were very high.
It was over 200 yards rushing between Montgomery and Gibbs, and one was almost 5 yards a carry and the other was around 9.
Yeah, so cut them in half and that's 7 yards a carry.
Right.
So you're at 2nd and 7.
Yeah.
But I would say this. You have the ability to also bring pressure on the other downs, 1st and 2nd down.
Which they've done.
To kind of say, can we be disruptive? You look at some of the teams, and there's teams that will blitz you 1st, 2nd, 3rd down just to kind of say, hey, we haven't shown this in the past, but this is a change-up. This is a kind of a curveball that we're going to throw at you and see, can we steal a down? Can we steal a play? Can we create a turnover? Can we cause a little bit of indecisiveness? And it's not even necessarily we're going to bring the pressure. We're going to show pressure.
Yeah.
And can we get you to break down your protection, get a free runner, stuff like that? Because right now we're not having enough success just winning one-on-one matchups in the pass rush.
Yeah, and I think about like teams that have done that to us, like the Dallas Cowboys. They did a great job bringing a ton of 1st down pressure. And we at times this year have done versions of that. I think about, again, I go back to that Chargers game, brought a ton of like dog pressures where we're stunting the line. And so obviously that's something that they have in the bag and something they can do. And I think for whatever reason, maybe it's the explosive weapons of the Detroit offense, they felt uncomfortable doing it.
I would say this, maybe when you're running an offense like Detroit where you got a lot of the outside zone plays, and you can help me with this because you've run in that system so much.
Yeah.
If you have pressure and you're stunting, and say I was supposed to go from the B gap to the A gap, and I'm running that stunt, and I go from the B gap, and I end up in the backside A gap. Now you're 2 gaps behind from a defensive line standpoint, and you're almost blocking yourself, so to speak. So maybe that was a situation where they didn't feel comfortable because they run so much zone type of run schemes, like to have those stunts. So that's one of the things that you may look at from a defensive standpoint, because you're like, okay, if we run these line stunts and we bring a linebacker or extra guy off the edge, we run the risk of maybe getting reached 2 gaps instead of 1. Getting gapped out.
It's true, because I guess like when you look at the Chargers, just as a point of comparison, they're a gap scheme run team, right?
Yeah.
So like it's much more effective in those situations. And again, when you're running these stunts and outside zone, like I remember Mike and Kyle used to be like, we love it when they run stunts because they'll reach themselves. And at points this year, you've seen guys on the defensive interior get reached out of gaps, like getting double gapped out. And so maybe that is something that they're concerned about now. And again, it goes back to the original point, Bram, that you brought up, where it's like what is at their disposal that they feel comfortable with, because if we run line stunts, we're not in our right gaps, right? If we don't bring line stunts, we don't create enough disruption to get negative plays. If we can't play man coverage, let's play zone, we can't get a pass rush.
Right.
So it just feels like they're going to have to keep looking, I think.
They're going to have to keep looking, man, and just continue to work. We got another ball game. Miami, we haven't had a chance to look at them yet, but just looking at the score of what they were able to do against a really good Buffalo Bills team. And they got some weapons on their football team. some guys that can make plays, but you have to continue to search. And, I mean, you're going to burn the midnight oil trying to figure this thing out.
Well, I mean, don't look at their record. Tua Tagovailoa was among the leading passers for the last couple of years.
Yeah, right.
Jalen Waddle is a number one wide receiver. David Achane is as fast as anybody in the NFL. Like, it's not like they're going to walk into, and just because this team has a bad record that you're going to walk into a weak opponent. You're not, and it's also the NFL. You never walk into a weak opponent.
And it's funny, like we had to do a film breakdown show, so I had to get that ready because we're going to Spain. I had to get that ready this week, so I had to watch a little bit of Miami Dolphins and talk about runs and blitzes defensively that are going to challenge rules and challenge eye discipline, like their ability to get in weird backfield sets and bring this guy here, motion this guy here, the ball handling of Tua, like it's going to challenge your eye discipline. And talk about a perimeter run team. I think they're maybe second in terms of perimeter runs in the NFL behind the Detroit Lions. So you're going to see perimeter runs with Devin Achane, who's really fast at the perimeter. You got Waddle with speed up the seam. Like they're going to hit that, that drift route that the Detroit Lions ran.
Yep.
They're going to run the absolute dog out of that. And then defensively, I think you can move the ball on them, but can you get any type of block from the defense to kind of slow them down?
Well, I just happen to take a look at what the Dolphins get against the Bills. They ran 497 yards on 32 carries, and Devin Achane, 22 carries, 174 yards. Averaged almost 8 yards per carry.
Explosive, fast
He's
player.
like the closest back to Gibbs you're going to find in the NFL. And so it's
probably not as big.
He's not as big. He's fast, though.
He might be faster.
Might be faster.
I think he's faster.
The underrated part of Gibbs is their strength that goes along with the speed. When he gets to the outside, you saw what happened tonight. When he gets to the outside, he's gone, but he could fight for the extra yardage too. He's kind of a unique player.
Yeah.
With Washington too. I mean, at this point,
gosh, he's so fast though.
They've said we tried to correct communication issues across the group. Turned into extended walkthroughs to Joe Witt leaves the box, goes on the field to try to help clear this up. In your experience, what's the next step? Because something has to come now because it clearly did not help enough against Detroit.
You've had the extra walkthrough. You just got to continue to grind at it. I think you got to grind at it at full speed manner too. And I'm sure they're going. They mentioned having more competitive segments in practice, good on good. But you just have to continue to work at it. I mean,
no one's
I like the added walkthroughs. Players have to also do some things, whether it's watching film, especially in the pass game, just with the linebackers in the secondary, making sure we're on the same page because we work in tandem so much when it comes to the coverage aspect. And then really take a deep dig. You might even want to put together, 30 clips of your plays, not even just your explosive plays you're giving up, was a 3rd and 5 situation, and you've given up those things. Just to reiterate, is there a common theme that's happening in these plays? Is it, hey, we can play this a little bit tighter, we can play these things a little bit better? So just really trying to figure those things out because offenses are going to continue to do the same things over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I think that I would just piggyback off of what Fletcher's saying, like, I know as a player, personally, when I was struggling, the only thing that I knew how to do was to put more time into it, invest more focus on it. So, and I do think there is an element we want to look to the schematic things that they did tonight, but also, sometimes defensively and offensively, you just got to go out and win a gap. You know what I'm saying? Just win your gap, hold your gap. What's my leverage? Where should my eyes be? And I think there needs to be, and I think this team does have this, personal accountability as a player. And after a performance like this, or after a couple of performances like this, I know, the scheme, whatever, but as a player, you got to say, me, what can I do to improve this? Because again, if I'm studying extra film and I'm talking looks and we're, I'm looking to my teammates and saying, trying to bring people along, maybe we get out of this just by outworking the problem. And I think that's what Fletcher's getting at. And again, that's been my experience as a player too. When it gets really dark, you just got to keep walking until it gets sunny outside.
I look at it like this. Let's make teams earn whatever they're getting against us. If they earn it and they beat us, you tip your cap off to us, hey, man, guy just beat me on this play. They won their one-on-one matchup. But there's too many times where we've given them things. We've allowed them to have these explosive by not having a proper leverage or maybe misfitting the gap, things like that. Let's not give them anything. let's make them earn everything they're getting.
Yeah. That side of the ball's been rough, and it's hard to come up with positives, right? The other side of the ball, there is a lot that really stands out that, I think they're in a rough spot because the defense, especially the last couple of weeks, literally can't get a stop. Mm-hmm. And the scores are happening fast. But offensively, Marcus Mariota, again, every time he starts, this offense works for him. He's extremely comfortable in it, and he operates really effectively in it.
Yeah, I think Marcus has been a bright spot, but also I think if you're, again, we're going to give the offense their flowers here in a second, but I do think the offense, can we, like you said, can we be better on third down? Can we possess the football? Can we try to alleviate some of this avalanche slide that we're feeling on the defense? But that being said, I do think there's some things that Marcus did really well. I like what Cliff did. Schematically, you mentioned that. Also, I like the emergence of Treylon Burks. It was great to see him in an offense where you're lacking kind of this vertical horsepower, to him to win some stuff down the field, make some contested catches. Debo with that great one-handed catch. People making plays in the offense, and I just wish we could have seen more of it. And I think I wish that it would have been in a more relevant game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Absolutely. That's you mentioned guys making plays, and there were some guys that went out and made plays for Marcus Mariota. I thought the coming out with the 3 tight ends
worked really well.
Hey, really, we got to be able to run the football.
Some different runs too.
Yeah.
They didn't come out and run kind of the same stuff. There was a conscious effort to overhaul what we were doing, slow the game down offensively, find these explosive there was the thought process was clear and it was effective. It was cool to see, and it's just unfortunate that they're a little shorthanded still.
It's a little shorthanded, but like you said, Bram, every time Marcus has been the starter, and he's had all the work during the week with the ones, he's gone out and he's played well enough.
Yeah, they has. And 2 of the receivers, to your point about where they're finding these spots. They've been here 3 weeks. Robbie Chosen, Treylon Burks. Burks, I think, was the leading receiver, if I remember right. He had he's putting it in the right place. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Chosen could have had a touchdown in that corner right down there if it wasn't for a good, maybe missed call, but good defensive play. But it was a perfectly thrown ball, right? To a guy he's probably practiced with 3, 4, 5 times. That's it. It
is incredible.
So it is. They've been dealt a really odd hand from day one. They've never practiced together. The quarterback's been hurt 3 times. Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown have been limited to barely existent participants throughout the entire course of the entire thing, and they're still finding ways to put 20-plus points on the board and have still, going into this, a top 5 rush offense, and found ways to make explosive plays with Jalen Lane, Treylon Burks, and could have had one with Chosen. Yeah. They're figuring it out.
They are figuring it out, and again, that's what you're encouraged by. All the things that I was concerned about, it's how are you going to beat man coverage? We're going to get in contested formations. We're going to hit some play-action shots. Great job by Marcus on that quarters read where they're running the dig. He cuts it. Awesome to Jalen. Really, like you're talking about, just a guy that can manage the offense. I think the only thing that I would be even a little bit critical of is just the third down efficiency, and the only reason we're even talking about that is because the defense is struggling so bad, right? It's you know what I'm saying? It's just, can you, as an offensive player, I'm always is there anything we can do to alleviate
it was
pressure?
when we had the first field goal that we had to settle for, we had a 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
Moving the football, we get the false start. Yeah. False start put us in 3rd and 15, and we got 8 yards, but now you're looking at 4th and 7 as opposed to you get that same 8 yards. I got 4th and 2. You're not going to go for it in 4th and 7, and you haven't scored any points yet, but 4th and 2, you're probably going to go for it in that situation.
And I think you should. I think one of the things that was so helpful last year, and we talked about this in the pregame show, was the ability to convert at a high 4th down percentage last year. So can we get 60% of that? And I think some of these offensive possessions will kind of flip in our favor and we'll be in a good spot. So
on the run game, they did stick to it despite what was going on today. 27 carries, 93 yards. That's only 3.4 a carry. So there's been a change with that. Yeah. And I attribute a lot of that to all the fluidity on the outside, that the personnel changes out there are going to alter the way a defense is going to look and be threatened by this offense. But the team has talked about that they want to get better producing in their run game. And I thought the run game wasn't bad today, but it's not doing what they want it to do. So what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch the film for the run game specifically, but I think you're seeing today, what I felt is I felt a run game that did a good job, especially when C-Rod's in there, of just keeping you on schedule. We're not taking negative runs or neutral runs. And people say, oh, is that a big deal? It's a huge deal because 3rd and 7 or 2nd and 7 is a functional down and distance for the offense. We still got quick game, we got keepers, we got RPO, everything's on the table, right? And is that a great run? Not necessarily, but I do think that efficiency, you feel that when he's in there. And so I think he got nicked today, right? Is that?
Yeah, he ended up, yes, he did. They didn't mention what it was, but
I didn't catch the injury.
So that's something that is a little concerning to me because I think Bill Krosky-Merritt's done a really nice job, but I think he's better in that supplemental role. So, again, getting C-Rod, maybe McNichols gets more touches. I thought he ran the ball well tonight. It's just that efficiency, I think, is so important.
Yeah, Bill has this explosive element.
His shoulder. Jason's saying it was a shoulder.
Bill has the explosive element to him. He's exciting to watch. I think when they were talking last week about not taking what's given to them a little bit, I think they were kind of nodding to him a little bit.
There were some times where
they were happy today.
It was blocked.
It's a good point.
Yeah, if he just follows his blockers, he'll probably get 5, 6, even 7 or 8 yards with his. But he has such great vision. He may see a defensive tackle pop a block, and he's like, oh, shoot, I can go out the back door, not realizing you got a safety rotating down. So the minute he goes out the back door, he's getting a 2-yard gain. But if he would have stayed front side, he probably would have got an 8-yard carry. And he's a young back. And so I thought today he stuck with it. The point about while it wasn't 4 or 5 yards per carry, it was the volume of runs that it keeps the defense having to respect you in terms of, hey, they will run the football against us. And now you're able to get a play-action pass for 41 yards to Jalen laying down the field. So just the simple fact that you stuck with it, and we stuck with it, it makes a difference.
And when you bring all those bodies in, people think, oh, that's how you run the football. It does get messy because there's just more run players there. The corners are closer, the safeties are closer, and it helps with some of the passing game. But I do think that's leading to some of these rushing numbers that are a little bit less efficient than we'd like.
Yeah, and on some of the bigger shots where the ball is going where it looked like it should be, some of them are being hit. The lane catch was outstanding.
Yeah, great job by him, right? Yeah. Great to see that from him.
Great catch by him. The Burks plays. Cliff said something else earlier in the week that really kind of stuck out to me heading into this game, and I saw it tonight where he said, all of these guys, most of them either weren't here or weren't in these roles, and we're now 3-4 weeks into them being in them.
Yeah.
So suddenly, they had a preseason, and now they're being asked to fill these roles, and there's just a comfort level that feels different, and I think you saw a little bit of that. It gets lost in what the score is, in how the defense was incapable of getting any kind of stop whatsoever. But there was a lot of that feeling to me that there was a control to this, even though you might not have been accustomed to the people that were running all these plays.
Do you think that that's something that the defense could get, kind of 3 weeks of consistent personnel to get them back on track? Because even tonight, the 2 starting corners are out. Marshawn's out. You're on. You know what I mean? Is that maybe something we could expect to see from them? Because again, you feel it with the offense. As the guys have been in the roles longer, the production's gotten better. Even with the offensive line and Cosme getting in there, you feel that continuity just a little bit better. I don't know. Is it something with the defense?
It can happen like that, but again, you mentioned it. The guys have to play more than 1 week together.
Yeah.
You got to have the same safeties. You got to have the same corners, same linebackers, especially when you're talking about fitting up combination routes, covering different things, the communication, knowing how a guy, if I'm working with Logan all the time against a certain stack formation, and him and I have done this 100 times, we know without even saying anything to each other how we're going to both play it. But if we got 3 reps against this play, we don't know what each other is going to do. And also from a run fit standpoint, a lot of times those corners, they're part of the run fit, and also the safety. So knowing that, hey, my safety, he may be lined up 12 yards deep and I don't feel him, but I know he's going to be coming and I can trust him to fit where he's supposed to fit when the ball is snapped. But if I'm not sure, is he going to stay back or whatever? So now I'm trying to do my job and do his job, and that's how you get big plays.
I mean, it feels like on offense they're figuring it out. And maybe it's taking some time because there's new parts and they're asked to do different roles, and it's starting to come together to whatever degree it can. On the other side of the ball, the larger question is, are guys not making plays? Are they not put in the position to make the plays that they need to make? Is it a combination of both? And that's what we're talking about. Like the dam opened up and everything fell apart because it doesn't feel like that. Like we're on the same page.
Yeah, I think it's probably, like all things, probably a combination of everything. Right?
Combination of everything.
Yeah, it's a scheme. Right. And again, when it's as difficult to watch as it was the last couple of weeks, it's got to be a version of that, right? It's a little bit the players, a little bit the coaching, a little bit the scheme, a little bit the reps, a little bit the injuries, and when you put that all on a big messy pot, like that's what you've.
Yeah, when you're on defensive end number 4, there's like a reasonable, I think there's a reasonable thing to look at and go, well, that's going to be a deficiency now. However, one void in one spot should not mean 400-plus yards, 500-plus yards, team never punting, never getting a turnover, never getting a sack. Like, that can't be it
I'd say, I just believe it starts with the inability to stop the run.
Yeah.
And we just didn't have enough disruption against their run game. Not enough negative yardage plays, not enough penetration, and losing Payne, not having defensive ends that you brought in to stop the run, set those hard edges. So you're running this outside zone, and you got a Dietrich Wise out there setting the hard edge. Now the run is no longer stretching you wide, so he's holding it, constricting everything and restricting everything. And now you got linebackers and everybody trying to get downhill and things like that.
And that's such a good point, and I know we're getting ready to wrap, but you got Kinlaw and Jerzon who are more penetrating ends.
Yeah.
And when you're penetrating in an outside zone with a ton of stretch, it creates vertical creases, right?
Yep.
And so imagine if Dietrich was here, if Dorrance was here, if these guys that we're talking about are here and they penetrate, and now all of a sudden those are tackles for loss as opposed to it just. And every team is negotiating injuries, so we're not making excuses, but it is something that I empathize with Joe Witt because he's having to overcome a lot, and the players are having to overcome a lot right now to get it right, and hopefully they get it right.
All right, last thing. What are you looking forward to in Spain the most?
I'm looking to hang out with you. Are we going to a museum or something? What are we doing?
I'm definitely going to a museum.
Let's go. Dude.
My wife has brought, well, you're not going to like this part. My wife has brought up flamenco dancing a lot.
I think we're doing it. I think I'm doing it.
Are you?
Yeah.
Logan and I and a couple of guys, we're gonna do some flamenco dancing.
You are?
For the show. You want to come?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'll say this.
Yeah. Bram Weinstein, flamenco legend.
Here's something you guys didn't know about me.
You're a good dancer?
No.
Okay,
I love art, and the mere fact that you two were talking about going to look at art without me, I'm kind of offended.
Oh. Let's go. When we were in L.A., I went to the Broad that was right up the street.
I'm a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
So, let's go. Let's all go to a museum.
Yeah.
Booth review museum time. We'll review the museum.
I'm not doing it. I'm not working when I'm at the art museum now. I'm going to enjoy the art.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm looking forward to Spain. We'll do this again, I think, in Madrid, right? After the game, I guess.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. We will.
So.
We'll do that. All right. See you then. Hasta mañana.